Hello everyone, this is Bichao and welcome back to my channel. Now, before I start talking about this car, I want to quickly talk about the two kind of people who are out there in this world. When you have to blend a smoothie, one sort of a person would kind of fill it all the way till the top, while the other would maybe fill it to half or three-fourths so that he's got a little bit of space in case there is any spillage. And that's the kind of ideology that we have over here with the Mercedes-AMG E53 as well. The kind of person who wants to fill his blender all the way to the top, maybe have spillages here and there, but at the same time get more smoothie, would be the kind of person who goes for the Mercedes-AMG E63S. While the other kind of person who probably fills his blender half or three-fourth is the kind of person who would probably enjoy the E53 much more. What I mean to say is, with the E53, Mercedes-Benz has sort of given you that kind of a wiggle room, that kind of a margin of error where you can never actually go overboard even if you go full blend mode on your car. Alright, before we go ahead, let me be clear. I don't mean to say that the E53 is a slow car by any means. In fact, the 3-liter inline-6 turbocharged engine that's there in this car produces a very impressive 429 horsepower and 520 Newton meters of torque. But actually, what's even more impressive is the way that power is produced. And the reason behind that is this engine produces power in 3 different stages. Of course, you have that single twin-scroll turbo which is responsible for the majority of the boost. But apart from that, there's also an electric motor which is sandwiched between the engine and the gearbox. That motor is a 48 volt system, which means it produces enough power to run everything from your air conditioning to the auxiliary pumps that are there on the car. And what that means is, basically, whenever you're sitting in a traffic jam and your car is doing its regular start stop thing, your AC doesn't keep running hot air or it doesn't keep changing temperature because the air conditioning is on the whole time. And also, because this motor powers all the auxiliary pumps, there is no need for an alternator, there is no need for a belt in front of the engine to run the rest of the pumps. And what that means is, this engine is way more compact in comparison to rest of the straight 6 engines, because one of the biggest problems and one of the biggest reasons why manufacturers don't use a straight 6 is because of its length. It becomes very difficult to package inside a car. But by removing that belt system, what Mercedes has essentially done is reduce the length of that engine to almost meet the same length, more or less, as their previous generation V6 engines. And most importantly for us guys, that motor also produces 21 horsepower and 250 Newton meters of torque, which it kind of substitutes power wherever there is power lacking from the single turbocharger. But that's not all, because that electric motor also powers an electric air compressor, which kind of works as a mix of a supercharger and a turbocharger. And what it does is, it spins at an insane 70,000 RPM to give another 7 psi of boost. And all of these systems combined get the E53 AMG from 0 to 100 in less than 4.5 seconds. It's a little weird and disheartening at the same time that, these days manufacturers go on and on talking about the touchscreen infotainment system, the 10-way massaging seats, the air purifiers that they give in their cars, and all the other features that they have, while at the same time they barely mention the insane engineering they're actually putting under the bonnet, to give you that kind of performance while at the same time keep efficiency intact. As I guess it's mostly because of us, because most people are superficial, where they won't really understand all the technicalities and the engineering that's going behind, and would rather, understand or would rather react to things which they can see, feel and touch on the surface. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is. The only thing that's a little weird about this engine, I would say, is that sound, because you're not used to listening to a straight 6 in a Mercedes. Mercedes and AMGs are known for their V6s and their V8s, and a straight 6 is more akin to something that you would find in a BMW car. So it's a little bit weird, maybe a little confusing, but the minute you start driving the car and you realize that its suspensions are much softer, you are way more comfortable, then you realize, no doubt, you are in a Mercedes-Benz. Actually, talking about the suspensions, that's one more part of this car which makes a lot more sense. Now, all Mercs are kind of comfy and a little softly sprung, and for a reason, that they always want to keep their occupants comfortable, no matter, even if you get the top of the tier E63S, even the suspension in that will be not as stiff or not as harsh as their German rivals. That said though, the E53 is a little softer. They've kept the suspensions a little more milder, and what that has basically done is made this car a lot more usable on a day-to-day basis. For instance, I am on a bad road right now. Suspensions are on sport mode, sport plus in fact. They're still pretty usable, they're still pretty livable on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's the whole point of this car. This is a full-size, well, an almost full-size AMG that you can live with on a day-to-day basis. It's a car that you can use on a daily. It's a car that you can literally go to office, come back, go to work, come back to work, take your family out for dinner. This is the kind of AMG which you can use on Indian roads without overly pampering it, without overly babying it across these kind of bad roads. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? The E63S or the E63 as well, it's a mighty impressive car, both of them. They are absolute monsters. They have so much of power, and they are every 16 to 18-year-old kids' wet dream. They are the ultimate super sedans or the super saloons. Opening the E63S on public roads, it's scary, okay? It's really scary because that car is seriously fast. Before you put your foot down, even halfway, the car's already crossed and it's broken all speed limits. It's broken everything that the law tells you not to. It's a pretty monster. It's a pretty rapid and it's a pretty intense experience. That is there for sure. But whenever I drove the E63, I could honestly, I really couldn't use it more than 30% on the normal roads. It's just not possible. It's got so much power that on not just daily driving, but even if you're coming to, let's say, a nice guard section, or if you find an empty stretch of road, you still can't use that car more than 30 to 35% of its actual full potential. Whereas over here with the 53, I can easily use this car to 50 to 60% of its complete potential. I can use it on a day-to-day basis. That combination of engine and suspensions mean that you can actually use the power of this car way more efficiently, most of the times, most of the places, without actually worrying about potholes, without actually worrying about bad roads, without actually calculating and thinking about when to put the power down. You can just open the taps on this car anytime, wherever you find a decently good enough road. And the best part is the downshifts on the overrun. Woo! Man, I tell you what, I drove the E63 on this very same road. It was more faster, it was way more exciting. I mean, it was just, but it was a little bit too much. I couldn't actually concentrate on going fast. All I was worried about, or all I was thinking about, how massively impressive this engine is. But here, I can actually utilize, I can actually use all that power and take this car by the scruff of its neck and show it some proper cornering. I can push it through the rev range. Trust me, whoever tells you that the 53 is low on power, tell him to shove it. In India, where you have these kind of roads, this car's power and this car's performance is so much more readily available. It's so much more ready on tap whenever you want to use it. This car comes to life because of that EQ boost system. Delivery of that power is almost near instant. You don't have to sit around, wait for the turbochargers to spool up. You see an opportunity to overtake, just put your foot down and go for it. And then, while you might think that the suspensions are slightly softer and that would be detrimental when it comes to cornering, well, the AMG suspensions over here actually manage the weight very well. They manage the entire body roll of this car very well, and that is to say something, because this is not a very lightweight car. It's almost 2 tons, and despite that, the suspensions actually are able to manage the body roll on this car very, very nicely, and it kind of mixes really well with that steering, which is quite fast. It weighs up very nicely at the right time, at the right speed, to give you a really quick and a really sharp turn in. You can come on the power way faster because of the 4-wheel drive system. You don't have to wait for the car to, sort of position itself at the right place in the apex, where if you punch down on the throttle, you will probably lose the rear end, you will probably fishtail. None of that. You can position it way earlier into the apex, and you can just put your foot down, and the car is just going to start flying. It's just rocketing off outside a corner. Guys, that's the whole point. Just having a big engine and having insane amounts like 1000 horsepower or whatever doesn't mean that it's all usable. You have to understand your local situation. You have to understand your surroundings, the kind of roads you have, the kind of traction you'll get on that road, and what is the most efficient way of putting that power down. And this, in my opinion, can put its power down way more efficiently, which ultimately makes it overall a lot faster in the real world. You can use it fast more of the times than any other car. And when I'm finished with hooning, I can just put it back in comfort mode and use it as a regular car, a regular E-Class. In fact, it's still better than a regular E-Class, because this still has a shorter wheelbase than the LWBs that we get over here. So it's still got better handling even when it's on comfort mode. On top of that, I've got a nice boot, I've got proper 4 seats, I've got all the amenities and luxuries that you expect from an E-Class. And if the going gets really tough, the suspensions also come with a lift system where I can lift the front a little bit and go over our mathematically challenged speed breakers. In the end, no matter how you put it, I think the E53 is a great performance car that you can use on a day-to-day. It's got all the bells and whistles of an AMG. It's got quite a decent performing engine, quite a powerful engine. Maybe not the top of the line like the 63's insane, monstrous V8, but it's got a very, very impressive engine that's got very, very little turbo lag because of the entire EQ boost system, and it is such a usable powertrain that you can just plonk your foot down wherever you find a little gap in traffic or a little gap on the highway to overtake, and you can extract, as I said before, way more performance out of this engine than you can with a full fat 63. I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Till then, ciao.